Hey friends, in today's video, I'll show you how to use Clay together with HeyReach so that you can finally send personalized LinkedIn messages at scale inside of HeyReach through a click of one button inside of Clay. So how to connect those two platforms together. Now, essentially, this will require 5 quick steps. The first step is to connect your API key. The way you will go about that is inside of Clay, you will basically click on settings in the bottom left-hand corner of the panel. At that moment in time, you will click on connections. You will type in HeyReach, and over here, you will see all your existing connections with HeyReach. So you will click on that, and then you will click on Add Connection, and you will name your connection. So in this case, I'm just going to say it's Tim 2025 HeyReach, right? And all we need to do next is go inside of HeyReach. And if you're not familiar with inside of HeyReach, you'll have to go in the bottom left-hand corner, click on Integrations. And at the bottom of the integrations, you will see this thing which says Get HeyReach API Key. So you'll see HeyReach API, and then you will click on this button which says Get API Key. Reasons, I'm hiding my API key here, but you will basically click on this copy button from over here. And you will then take it inside of Clay and you will copy and paste it into the API key section. You'll then switch on this toggle so that you can set this as your default API key going forward. You will click on test account and save. And what this will do is it will validate that this API key works just fine between Clay and HeyReach. Now, at that moment in time, you will go back into the step-by-step guide, which you can find underneath the video wherever you're watching it. And you can then build a quick campaign inside of HeyReach. The way you will do that, if you're new to HeyReach, is you'll click on campaigns in the left side of the panel. You'll click on start new campaign in the top right hand corner. You'll give it a name. So for example, I'll say Tim 2025, and then you'll click on create. At that moment in time, since you're adding leads from Clay, you will select create empty list, and then I'll say empty like that. Wow, my computer was even shaking as I typed that. And then you'll click on confirm. You can select an exclusion list. For example, I don't want to reach out to people that I was trying to hire from a company called Belkins, right? And on top of that, you can exclude any people that you previously contacted. So just basically, typically just tick all of these 3 boxes so that nothing goes too wrong. At that moment in time, click on continue. Make sure you select the account that you want to reach out with, then click on continue again. And this is where you have an option of how to set up the campaign. Once again, one of my best videos on this channel is about how to use HeyReach with Sales Navigator and how to set up those fancy campaigns. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. In simple terms, we're trying to mimic what we do otherwise manually with LinkedIn. So typically, I don't know about you, but I would click on Add Action here. And the first thing that I will do before sending a message to a person is viewing their profile. And then 1 day later, I'll send them a connection request. Worth noting, don't send personalized connection requests. Like whoever does that honestly deserves to be forever ignored with their cold outreach not working, because that just sounds too salesy straight away. So ignore this connection request. Don't send anything in those. And on the left side of the branch, you're basically saying what happens if they don't accept your connection request. So in this case, we can like their post, we can view their profile again and just, annoy the hell out of them. And then eventually you'll have to click on end. If you want to change the amount of days between different steps, you can just click on that and basically change from days to hours and type in like X amount. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to keep it super simple. I'm just going to click on add action and I'm going to click on send message. And over here, I'm going to put the placeholder text and I'm going to put the placeholder text at the bottom here as well. Now, at this moment in time, you're probably thinking, what the hell is a fallback message at the bottom? The fallback message does not use any dynamic variables. So for example, if you have the first name and you have the last name and so on in the message, and we don't know the person's first name or last name, which never happens, you would hardly ever use the fallback message, then they will be sent this generic message, which is super generic. Now, on top of that, if you're completely obsessed with A/B testing and you're like an absolute freak doing that, then by all means, you can click on add message variation in the top right-hand corner, and then you can A/B test messages, which once again, if you want to do that, then we're quite different. But yeah, it's probably a good idea for some people. Anyways, not going to judge you there. Then at that moment in time, you can click on add action and add a series of actions. Once again, watch another video about this. I've done like a 20-minute video explaining how to use HeyReach. At that moment in time, we'll click on end. And basically, we'll click on continue again. We'll click on I know what I'm doing. And then we'll click on launch campaign. At that moment in time, it's really important to pause the campaign and click on confirm, because this will basically pause the campaign and let us switch to the next step, which is generating a custom message. Now, what do we mean by a custom message? So let's imagine that this is the Clay table that we've built. We don't want to transfer the data column by column because that increases the likelihood of human error, right? So what I mean by that is if you're hiring a freelance to do this for you, the chances are they'll mess something up. So the way that we avoid these mess ups is we'll click on add column instead. We'll click on message. And over here, we can type out the entire message that we want to send to the prospect. So in my case, I'm just going to say, hi, first name, what is your 5 kilometer PB, ? Right? And then I'll just call this message 1. And then you can click on save and don't run. And regardless, it will basically generate this. You can then click on a column and rename it to message 1, right? And you can do the same thing. You can then just write a similar message too by clicking on add column message and blah, blah, blah. You will write a second message. And for the time being, this is all I want to do. I just want to show you how to just send one message across, because you could do the same with multiple messages, right? So you will generate the custom message, and then you will run the add lead to campaign enrichment. What I mean by that is you will go inside of Clay, you'll click on add enrichment, you'll type in HeyReach, and then you can type in HeyReach add. And then the first thing that comes up over here is this fat option of adding the lead to a campaign. You'll click on that, and you can select the campaign that we just created. So Tim 2025, or was it Tim is cool? I don't remember. I think it's Tim 2025. We can then select the first name of the person. So once again, that's the first name, the last name, all of that boring stuff. And the key thing that we're trying to transfer, remember, is the custom field. And the custom field is this thing over here that we've just generated, the entire message we want to send in one go. So for that, we'll click on custom fields, add a new custom field name and custom field value pair. We'll basically replace this with message _1. And we can then select, using a / here, the message that we want to send them. So this message 1, right? What we then have to do is basically just click on save and run 11 rows in this view. What we should start seeing is leads being added to the campaign. In this case, you can see that they've all been added here. And what we then need to do is look at our step-by-step guide. So after we added the leads, we need to pause the campaign, which we've already paused, and we need to add the custom variables. Now, the way we'll do that is we'll go back to HeyReach, we'll click on edit campaign, and at that moment in time, just need to make sure that that campaign is paused, because unfortunately it looks like I've already started that campaign for the prospects. Oops, guilty. And then once again, we'll click on edit campaign, we'll click on continue, and inside of this fancy sequence here, where the first message was with a placeholder text, you should see at the bottom of the screen, the message 1 has popped up. So this message 1, it says this is a custom variable. This has been sent by the API from Clay to HeyReach. Absolutely magical, right? Anyways, so over here, we just replace this placeholder text with message 1. And in the fallback message, we can then draft a generic message just as a fallback option in case. So in this case, I'll just say, what's your 5 kilometer PB? ? And I'll click on save. Now, essentially, at that moment in time, we can click on continue. I know what I'm doing, and resume the campaign. And what this will do is it will automatically push all of those leads, but automatically receive this message from us because we've just sent it. And by now, you're probably thinking, oh, this video just showed it how to do this in 8 minutes. Do I have to spend 8 minutes every single time to add leads to a HeyReach campaign? And the answer is no, you don't. And here is how you will speed up the process. So first of all, you'll click on this add lead to campaign option. You'll click on edit column. You will basically click on save as template, and then you will call this template, I don't know, I'm just going to say Tim is cool, because I'll probably delete this because obviously it's not like a real template that I'm going to use. And then I'll click on save template. At that moment in time, next time that you have a lead to add to a campaign, you can click on add enrichment. You can type in HeyReach, and you can click on add lead to a campaign. You can click on browse templates, and voila, you have this template that you just created. So all you have to do is just fill in the variables really, really quickly. You don't have to double think about what variables to include, what variables not to include. You'll select those, apply the template, voila, you're good to go. You basically can then save and run those straight away. So that's how you speed up the process of setting this up inside of Clay. And inside of HeyReach, very similarly, what you will do is inside of the campaign section, you can just click on the 3 dots and click on duplicate, and then just basically duplicate the campaign that you just set up for someone else. And what this will do, if I just show you test 222, if I show you here, what this will do is it will duplicate the entire campaign with a message as well. So you don't need to automatically do that thing with a message every single time. So that basically lowers the amount of time that you spend setting up a HeyReach campaign from 8-9 minutes to probably just under 2 minutes. Assuming all else is fine. And then the only thing you may need to add is the fallback message. But once again, I don't mind keeping what's your 5 kilometer PB as the fallback message, because if someone receives it, anyone can receive it in theory, it will stand out in the inbox for sure. Not exactly personalized, but oh well, we move on. And then basically this is how you will go about that. Now, at this moment in time, you're probably thinking, oh, but how do I remember all of these steps? I'll put all of these in a guide. I'll link the slides and I'll link this exact video in a guide. So you can basically send it to your colleague, to a freelancer, or to someone else to reference how to do this entire process. So if you want to take me up on that, the guide will be linked underneath the video. I'll also link an entire video walking you through how to use HeyReach step by step. So if you want to take me up on that, let's do that. And then thirdly, if you want to hang out with me for just under 3 hours and to become an Clay expert, by all means, just go and check out unlockclay.com, which basically walks you through from start to finish how to use Clay with other tools like HeyReach, SmartLead, Instantly, you name it, we teach it. And essentially, this course has over 100 testimonials. It's got a really fancy landing page, so go check it out. And if you want to take me up on that, it only costs £100. And rumor has it, that's 5-10 times cheaper than any courses that deliver any sort of similar knowledge out there. So if you want to basically hang out with me, be invited to a private community of over 100 Clay nerds like myself, by all means, for the time being, it's at £100. I'll probably bump up the price because right now, like it's selling really fast. And yeah, if you have any questions on that, let me know. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see similar tutorials. Comment down below what new tutorials you want to see. And hopefully this was the most entertaining Clay HeyReach tutorial you've ever seen. So if I lived up to the hype, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best.